The floor no one was allowed to stay on. Guests were told it didn't exist. No rooms, no access, just an elevator button that never lit up. And yet, everyone noticed it. To understand why a hotel would deliberately erase an entire floor from its own reality, we have to return to a moment when exclusivity stopped being about luxury and started being about limits. As access expanded everywhere else, true power began hiding in restriction. What you could not enter mattered more than what you could. This hotel mastered that idea quietly. From the beginning, its design included a level that served no obvious purpose. No public spaces, no bookable suites, no signage. Floor numbers skipped it entirely. Staff never mentioned it unless asked directly, and when they were, answers were vague. Maintenance, private operations, nothing important. That uncertainty was intentional. Guests noticed patterns before explanations. Elevators paused slightly longer when passing between certain floors. Security routines shifted subtly near one vertical zone. Hallways aligned around a space that felt present but unreachable. The building carried a silence at its center. At first, curiosity felt harmless. Guests speculated casually. A storage level, a technical floor, a remnant of old plans. But curiosity behaves differently when it is denied resolution. The more the hotel refused to clarify, the more the absence grew in importance. The reveal began when certain guests were treated differently. Some received keys that activated additional elevator options. Others never did. No announcement, no hierarchy explained, just a quiet divergence of access. The forbidden floor became a measure, not a mystery. This was not about secrecy for its own sake. It was about calibration. The hotel understood something fundamental. Power is reinforced not by what is given, but by what is withheld. Guests began measuring themselves against the absence. Who had access, who didn't, who never even asked. The floor did not need occupants to matter. It existed as an idea, and ideas, when left undefined, become far more powerful than reality. This hotel did not build a forbidden space to be used. It built it to be felt, and once guests became aware of it, everything about belonging inside the building began to shift. Because when a place contains a level you are not allowed to reach, you start questioning where you truly stand. And that was exactly the point. As days passed, the forbidden floor began influencing behavior far beyond its physical boundaries, quietly reshaping how guests interpreted access, status, and belonging without ever needing to reveal what was actually behind those sealed elevator doors. The absence became a reference point, an invisible line against which every other privilege was measured. The reveal deepened through contrast. Guests compare experiences without meaning to. Some elevators move faster. Some corridors open more easily. Some interactions with staff felt warmer, more efficient, more anticipatory. Nothing overt, nothing provable, but enough to suggest that the building recognized people differently. Those who suspected they lacked access reacted in subtle ways. They lingered longer in public spaces. They watched patterns. They asked indirect questions framed as curiosity rather than desire. Staff responses remained consistent, polite, neutral, non-committal. The floor was never confirmed or denied. It simply remained unreachable. Meanwhile, a smaller group of guests behaved differently. They did not speculate. They did not ask. They moved through the hotel with quiet familiarity, as if certain boundaries did not apply to them. When their elevator stopped between floors, no surprise crossed their faces. When they disappeared for hours, no explanations followed. This contrast created tension without confrontation. The hotel never enforced hierarchy verbally. It allowed perception to do the work. Guests filled the silence with assumptions, and assumptions once formed became self-reinforcing. The forbidden floor transformed from location into a signal. It communicated who was trusted, who was tolerated, and who was still being evaluated. Access was no longer about comfort. It was about proximity to something undefined but important. Attempts to rationalize the floor multiplied. Guests told themselves it was operational, that it was irrelevant, that it did not matter. But the very need to explain it betrayed its influence. The unknown began shaping decisions, altering posture, softening speech. The hotel understood this instinctively. Mystery scales faster than explanation. Restriction sharpens attention, and silence invites projection. By the time guests stopped speculating aloud, the system had already succeeded. The forbidden floor no longer needed to be discussed. Its presence was felt in how people behaved around it. The conflict was no longer about curiosity. It was about self-assessment. Because when access is undefined, people begin defining themselves against it. And that internal recalibration was only the beginning. The conflict surfaced the moment guests realized the forbidden floor was not a place, but a test, quietly separating those who sought validation from those who already understood restraint. What mattered was not who reached it, but who never tried to. The buildup intensified as behavior diverged. Some guests became increasingly attentive to how they were perceived. They adjusted tone. They softened demands. They attempted to align themselves with what they imagined the hotel valued. The absence of clear rules turned self-monitoring into habit. Others did the opposite. They disengaged entirely. They stopped performing. They moved freely, unconcerned with perception. And paradoxically, it was this lack of pursuit that seemed to invite deeper access. Doors opened more smoothly. Interactions became shorter, more precise. Trust moved silently. The hotel never confirmed these patterns. It didn't need to. Guests who fixated on the forbidden floor became defined by it. Their curiosity sharpened into anxiety. Every delay felt like exclusion. Every unanswered question felt intentional. The unknown occupied mental space far larger than any physical room ever could. Meanwhile, those who ignored the absence experienced the hotel differently. They treated access as secondary, presence as primary. They did not measure themselves against what they could not reach. And in doing so, they passed the test without knowing it existed. The emotional pressure peaked when guests understood the deeper implication. The floor was not withheld to protect secrets. It was withheld to observe behavior. Power, the hotel understood, is revealed by response to denial. Do you push? Do you adapt? Or do you remain unchanged? The forbidden floor exposed these instincts effortlessly. Some guests left early, unsettled by the ambiguity. Others stayed longer than planned, sensing there was something to learn here, even if it could not be named. The building continued to say nothing. The conflict was no longer external. It was internal. Guests were not competing for access. They were confronting how they reacted when access was uncertain. And that confrontation was reshaping them quietly, one unspoken decision at a time. The climax was approaching, because a system that measures restraint must eventually reveal what restraint earns. And the hotel was almost ready to do exactly that. The climax arrived without revelation. No door opened. No hidden floor was revealed. Nothing changed. And that was the final lesson. Guests eventually understood that access had never been a reward. Behavior was. Those who chased explanation left frustrated. Those who demanded clarity felt diminished. Those who tried to perform their way upward exhausted themselves. But those who moved to the hotel without fixation experienced something different. They were trusted without ceremony, included without announcement, positioned without instruction. The forbidden floor never needed occupants. Its power came from restraint, from silence, from the discipline of not resolving curiosity. The resolution was subtle but permanent. Guests left with a recalibrated understanding of power, not as possession, but as composure. This hotel proved that the highest level of access is not entry. It is indifference to entry. By removing one unreachable space, the building revealed something universal. Those who need validation chase doors. Those who do not move freely. The floor no one was allowed to stay on never mattered as a place. It mattered as a mirror. And once guests saw themselves reflected in how they reacted to denial, they carried that awareness far beyond the hotel walls. In the modern world, power rarely announces itself. It watches quietly. And sometimes the most influential spaces are the ones you never enter. The floor